Hey guys and girls, welcome back to another video, and today I'm on my Wattpad, as you can see, because I want it to be. And so now, wait, give me a second, I'm gonna find something to read. Okay, so I found one. It's called Caught Up, Bakugou Omegaverse, which if you don't know what a Megaverse is, it's basically, you know how werewolves do, but basically wolves, they have alpha, beta, and omega, and one other I can't think of. And so basically, omega is the worst of the pack, alpha is the best, and beta, and that fourth one I can't remember. Oh my gosh. Anyways, let's just get into it. I am not reading the POV third person thing because, yeah. Izuku. Inko's voice wailed, strong and full of concern. You can't be forgetting these things as important as your scent suppressants. Goodness me, Izu. Oh my gosh, I could do Japanese. I stutter a lot, but the stuttering, thank you, whatever genetics I got stuttering from. She scolded lightly, unzipping the green in its backpack and stuffing a small tube in, filled with white and blue pills. Sorry, mother, the teen apologized. Eyes glued to the floor. I was just excited to be going back to school, that's all. Well, I know, sweetie. The woman smiled. Just make sure you take them, forget one time, and who knows what could happen, her voice weavering it to the end. Jesus, Of course, it's a new term. I won't forget a single day, Midoriya assured, smiling at his mother. Before turning towards the school and heading off, waving as he left. As a precaution, UA High did not supply scent serpents to all the students that attended. However, Izuku, as an Omega, had particularly strong scent for his age and had to take his own. Nobody was allowed to go to classes if they were in heat or craving a partner, and normally had their doors locked with food and water inside, of course. As Izuku walked, he thought back to the first days at UA, where everyone in the class had announced that they were an alpha, beta, or omega. It was pretty daunting for him, as most of the students were fierce alphas. Only a handful of them were omegas, and surprisingly, no betas. That actually is surprisingly. I mean, betas are just the weaker thing of alphas, and omegas are the worst of the pack. And that fourth one, I think, is before omegas. No, wait, not before omegas. It's alpha, then the one that I can't remember, then betas, then omegas. Yeah. Obviously, the greenets stuck to his omega friends like glue. I don't like her name. Ochacho, Lita, Tsui, and Todoroki. Please, if y'all know how to say that name, Ochako. I'm gonna call her hot chocolate now. Yay. You know what? I'm gonna call her Chaco. And then we're gonna go Tsui? If y'all do know how to say her name, please tell me. There was a shock reaction when Todoroki announced himself as an Omega, as many thought he pronounced an Alpha outlook, but those who got to know him saw his soft, mushy side. Upon reaching the gates of his familiar-looking high school, The teen sighed to himself, dragging his feet towards the door to unpack in his room. Oh God. Deku-kan! A familiar bubbling voice called out. In mere seconds after Izuku arrived. Uh, Chacho, hi. We're calling you Uraraka because that's your real name, and I don't care what they call you in this book. Well, technically, Okacho, however we say your name, is your real name, but so is Uraraka. So I'm calling you Uraraka because it's easy. Uraraka, hi. Midoriya smiles, greeting his friend with a small wave. How are you? How's your summer? How was your summer? She asked, Eve, eyes lighting up. I'm great, and I had a pretty normal summer. Well, I have to catch up along with Ida too. After we've unpacked, of course. The brunette giggles. Her excited personality never failed to entertain the greenette. Sure, he agrees. I think the whole class pretty much reserves the first day off back together for chatting anyways. So I'm sure we'll be able to speak soon. So I'm sure we'll be able to all speak soon. Uraraka smiles in agreement, picking up her suitcase, waving at Izuku quickly before heading to her dorm room. The boy doing the same shortly after. As he entered the same lift he usually uses, a difference in the atmosphere hit his face like a bus. His senses were filled with strange smell, lingering in the lips. It was like a liqueur mixed with caramel. What? Well, I don't know what that means. Whatever it was, the boy couldn't seem to get enough. Shivering, whining, weak in his knees, trembling to his ankles, and panting each hot breath before the lift opens, the scent evaporated. And I never wrote any of this on when I'm doing the texting stories, Jesus. Comment down below if you want me to do another version of this. Please, I will. Except, of course, if they're smart, I will read the smart. But I will not. And I mean, I will not write it. Because, yeah. His mind seemed to snap out of the strange, addicting trance he was stuck in, shaking his head quickly and cursing himself for acting so weird. As he stumbled into his room, shoving his suitcase on his bed, the sequence in the lift were best left forgotten, with the embarrassment tied to them. The next task was unpacking. I actually honestly don't know how much more. Wait. Oh, we don't have it left. I'm gonna read 2 chapters. I'm aware that today will be time preparing for schoolwork and studying, Aizawa announced as everyone gathered in the common area. However, you need to do so. However, the need to do so is not strict just yet. You may catch up as you like, but please prepare somewhat for dormitory and school life for the next term. He states, looking around at the students. An audible groan could be heard from Dinky's mouth, sending a few giggles to the rest of the class. Oh, and a notice, the sleepy male continued. It has come to my attention that an alpha missed a serpent today. Our scent monitor picks up on it earlier, and whoever it is must take the pill immediately, or there will be consequences. The green-haired teen thought back to the lift, his eyes widened in realization. Alpha scent, he mutters to himself, barely audible. That explains the reason behind why he couldn't stop himself. And it was so addicting. The class soon broke into mutters as the smell of cooking escaped from the kitchen nearby, and the students went off into their groups. How very embarrassing, Ida began as he walked to Izuku and Uraka joining them. Alphas have no idea the struggles it is for an Omega to contain themselves when smelling a scent. The rude and selfish act of not taking a serpent is worse than they may think. He scolds, hand hands blinking around the place. I love that. I agree, Uraka. Oh, now you use Uraka. I agree, Uraka pouts. Hands sitting on her hips. Forgetting isn't an excuse. Thank goodness none of us Omegas got caught in the scent. Izuku's eyes fell to the ground in shame. He shakily twisted thumbs around one another. Deku-gun? The brunette asked, tones seeping with worry. I think I may have even if I stutter, I still got caught up in the scent. He emits, voice trembling. Midoriya, are you alright? Ida exclaims. Yeah, I'm fine. I guess it was just a little strange, that's all. The blue-haired male frowns in worry. Midoriya, you know that. Dinner, come on. Come and eat, guys. Mina shouts. The class rushes over to the table, cutting off Ida in the process. Oh, poor Ida. Okay, yeah, we don't have. Also, if you want to read this, I will leave the link into the description below for it. What is this? Oh, that gives away a lot. Okay. Feelings, Chapter 2. It was Midoriya's mission to put aside the bad start to the term, thinking only now how he could have best started to studying at school. He sits down next to Todoroki, who he had become rather close with since the Force Festival. Hey Midoriya, Shoto greets, hanging him a bowl for the meal. Todoroki-kun, it's good to see you again. The brunette smiles, taking the bowl and waiting to be served. I've saved you some serpents, seeming as you forgot them last term. The dual chrome boy says, passing him a box of the pills. Oh, thank you, Shoto. But I actually remember this term. He giggled to himself. The oh so serious meal in front of him, not finding any scrap of humor in the past sequences, making the boy laugh more. As the class eats, familiar faces put to rest any remaining nerves Izuku had. He smiles at all of his supporting classmates. That was until he linked eyes with one person in particular, Katsuki Bakugou. I forgot how you actually say Katsuki Bakugou, or like Bakugou in general. I think in America we say it differently than wherever it originated. I think Japan, maybe? Anyways, that's his point. He immediately averted his eyes to his food, heart thumping in his chest. What was that? He muttered to himself, gaze glued to the chopsticks in his hands. Mumbles, looking at the granite. Oh, nothing. He answers, although his thoughts screamed the opposite. My heart, why is it racing? Control yourself, Midoriya. He used to bully you. You haven't thought about that in years. What's the deal? What is this feeling? Joe's simple thoughts sent a strange heating to his face, lighting up his cheeks with pink glow. Hey, you really can't handle any kind of spice, can you? Shoto asked. Your cheeks are pink even with ultra mild flavor. Jesus, I didn't even know they made ultra mild. If Izuku wasn't blushing before, he felt his face on fire. Why did Todoroki have to pick up on it of all people? He's as dense as a rock when it comes to those types of things. If he can notice the color that people that have an eye for, it will surely be onto something. Excusing himself from the table early, Midoriya had a strong enough reason to, at least for himself, to hide away in his room for the rest of the night. Oh, now we're at Bakugo's. What the heck is that nerd up to? Bakugo thought, piling the plates and bowls in the sink and turning on the tap. He was on washing duty, but his mind raced thinking about Deku at the dinner table. Back to the dinner table. Why did he pull away so fast like that? Did I do something? Did you do something? Well, that's kind of stupid. Never asked that question. Of course you did something. You broke a little... Oh my god, my cat's in the window. Meow. Oh, now he's rubbing up against it. I'm surprised he could even sit up on the window, considering the fact that it's very, very... Oh wait, cats are skinny. Well, some cats, maybe. Anyways, back to it. You did do something to him. And that's my cat, the one I was talking about earlier. Oh, hi, he's looking at me. If I zoom, oh, he's kind of ugly if you zoom. Ooh, well, that's him. He's becoming a fat cat, and I love fat cats, so yay. He would never come across this way, but Katsuki actually cared and thought back about things he said, and sometimes deeply regretting the way he phrased things or came across. Okay, I thought it said come for a second, but yeah, it said game. Dirty-minded people, if you know what I mean. This was one of those times as he thought more about the past events. The more frustrated he became, that's why he can blow up in rage for no apparent reason, frankly. He scrubbed the dishes harshly, so deep in thought in fact, that he didn't notice a certain redhead looming behind him, watching his mannerism carefully. What's on your mind? Kirishima asked, taking the blonde by surprise and paying for it with a full face soapy dishwater. My grandpa's in the kitchen. I'm gonna do it. Piss off. Hair for brains. Okay, Hiroshima doesn't have hair for brains. He has the Canada flag for hair. I could legit take the Canada flag and take Hiroshima with a bald head and put the Canada flag on top of him, even though I don't know how to draw. Hey, Nakaya, my friend, you do this for me. I want to see what he looks like with the Canada flag. Anyways, not this one. Back on. Bakugou roars, cleaning the plates even harsher than before. I know you, Bakugou. You have something you're thinking about. The fact you're angry and the fact you're angrily scrubbing those stitches confirms it. Katsuki sighed, gritting his teeth before answering. So if I did, what's it to you? You don't have to tell me anything. You just seem agitated, that's all. As Bakugou's closet friend Ijuro. I forgot to say his name. Ijuro Karashima. What? I don't know how to say his name. I forgot how to say Ijuro. I'm Kuro. We can call him Kuro. Ijuro Kuro. Anyways, that's the point. As Bakugou's closet friend Ijuro knew exactly how to talk to him in wonder not to make him rage every word, or at least not so much. Fine. The blind growls, pulling off the rubber gloves, looking at the other male. The nerd's acting weird around me, he admits, not starting to look the other in the eye. Midoriya? Yes, Deku. Who else would it be? Katsuki seeps, trying hard not to shout. Why, what happened? Dinner. He looked at me and I don't effing know. He pulled away, looked uncomfortable, which I know he probably was. We aren't friends or anything, but his voice trailed off towards the end as he tugs at the hems of his shirt harshly. Huh? That's not really like Midoriya. Kirishima agrees. Eyebrows furrowing. I just have no idea what happened. I have no idea what the problem could be. Katsuki's teeth gritted harshly before raging. Well, that's why I told you, dumb a-hole. We're going in that. Well, no, wait, because that's different. Dumb A. We're gonna call that dumb A. Figure something out. The redhead couldn't help but smile. Katsuki's way of asking for help was Katsuki's way of asking for help was always so unnecessary. Well, did you do anything out of ordinary today? He asked. Bakugo's eyes furrow. A wave of frustration, then realization crosses his features. Well, actually, that may have been me. That may have been me. That I forgot to take freaking suppressants today. My cat's gone. He admitted, Kirishima gasping in reaction. Bakugo, you what? Do you know how bad that could have been? Well, the worst that could have happened is some dork Omega would wanna fuck. Dude, you don't understand. With a scent as strong as yours, if any Omega inhaled it, they would be sent into heat early. Suppressants wouldn't work, and they would crave attention from their crush immediately. Katsuki's eyes widened in shock. He could only Katsuki's eyes widened in what could only be described as shock. Are you saying I think Midoriya caught up on your scent? Kirishima explains, fear crossing his eyes. Okay, I'm not leaving y'all on a cliffhanger, man. Y'all know me. Okay, yes, I do. I did once. But still. Chapter 3, Realization. Oh, God. That was hot. Izuku had been draped across his bed for the past 2 hours. His head ached from the amount of thoughts swirling around in it. Kachan, he muttered to himself. I knew that I felt strangely towards him last term, but over the summer, Kachan has changed. Got prettier? He stops himself talking by slapping his hand over his mouth, realizing just what he was saying. No. I don't. I'm not. Izuku didn't know exactly what he was saying, his hands reaching for the pillow before he dragged it over his head, pulling it down harshly. Dang these feelings, he huffed, standing up quickly, heading towards the dorm room. Heading down the dorm room towards the kitchen. He hadn't realized how late it was. He forgot all about chatting to friends. He felt awful to find the common rooms deserted. Everyone long gone to bed. He reached for a glass. Voices behind him stopped him. In distracted, he turned slowly to where they came from. You need to work that out for yourself, a familiar voice of Kirishima laughs, a hushed tone turning into a whisper. Effing fine. Another voice replies that could only belong to one person. The fact that that person had been on Midoriya's mind the whole night made the situation worse, as he why would you say mustard? What? Mustered up. Mustered up in his face once more, spreading from his cheeks to his nose. Why was Kachan so different in his eyes now? It was all too confusing for the Greenette. Look, bro, it's really late, so if you want to talk about it tomorrow, we can. Ijura sighs at the sound of movement, signaling Izuku to duck behind the counter. Out of sight, he knew dang well he shouldn't be listening in, but he couldn't just leave the hiding spot now. I just don't understand. What you're saying is the guy has the hots for me? Kachan asked a strange tone of voice of pride utters confusion lingering in his voice. Time will tell, Kirishima answers as the lift door opens, both voices mute. As soon as a few seconds of silence has passed, the Greenette pounces from the counter, more confused than ever, with one more prominent question on his mind. What a confusing start to the term. Midoriya barely had a blink of sleep that night. What on earth was he going to do tomorrow? The class had a full day off before school. Lessons could start as normal, so all he could think about was figuring out what Kachan was talking about, and trying his best to go about the day normally. Atha-chan, you can't sleep, love, hee hee. What? Oh! Hey Midoriya, Tenya greets the groggy Greena early the next day. Izuku mumbles, struggling to keep his eyes awake. You know you should really try to get up earlier, Deku-gun. Remember how many times you overslept last term? Uraka giggles, joining the boys for breakfast. I know, I just barely slept last night. He admits, lazily scratching his head. Did you know that when someone can't sleep, it means someone was thinking about you? That's a Japanese folktale. I don't actually know if it's true. I mean, yeah, I do lose a lot of stuff. And I have a boyfriend. And he's in India, so cutting that out. I have a friend in India, and we talk every night because he's in India. That must be. Oh, yeah. So I have a friend in India, and yeah. The brunette teases prodding the male's arms with a playful jab. Who would be thinking about me at 3 a.m.? Izuku laughed back. Midoriya, watch what you're doing. Ida suddenly shouts as the green-up manages to spill milk all over the table, panicking quickly before grabbing a cloth. Deku-gun, you are more tired than I thought. You can't be like this for school tomorrow. I know, Uraka. I will try my best. Midori sighs. I'll catch up with you guys at the table. Go on without me. I've gotta clean up. The team stepped back, evaluating the situation. Milk was everywhere. Why did he have to be so clumsy when he was tired? After shoving the damp cloth in the sink, he finally went to get some more cereal, turning around quickly to the cupboard, bumping headfirst into a larger figure. I'm sorry, the green immediately apologizes, stepping back and bowing profusely. The voice answered back. Deku felt his knees weaken, his head and beads of sweat build up on his palms. You should be more careful, Deku. It was Katsuki, the same Kachan he couldn't seem to erase from his mind. The same male that kept him up and made him tired in the first night. Midoriya opened his mouth to answer, but only stutter could escape. Before he linked eyes to Kachan's red orbs, he felt a familiar heat rush to his face. His thoughts completely left him, abandoned him, standing there, staring straight into the brunette's red eyes. Move, he orders himself, blinking. As he rushes past Bakugou into the lift. What am I thinking? The teen asked himself, swiping all the buttons in the lift. Swiping all the buttons in the lift in one swipe motion, hands pressing down to his knees as he slumped down in the small room. He caught a final glimpse of Kachan, rushing towards the lift where he was, eyebrows furrowed into sorrow before his expression weakened. Upon seeing the Reina quiver in the corner, As the lift closed, Izuku left at his level, leaving the lift running to the higher floors so no one could find him sooner. Oh. You know what, we're reading this whole entire thing because it's only 9 chapters, so like, why not? What's this? You actually like this, should I not? He's shirtless. Gachan's shirtless. He has a shirt. We don't know what's below. Izuku. So, assumptions I'm making. He crashes into his dorm, jumping onto his bed before turning his drawers next to him. Suppressants, he ordered himself, once more pulling open the top wooden frame, downing a pill instantly. The quavering continued as his skin felt hot and itchy. No, this wasn't due for my... I wasn't due for my heat yet, he growled, burrowing his head into his knees. His eyes widened as he released something more disturbing, a scent filling the brim of the room. Why aren't my serpents working? The stream rapidly went into a state of panic, fumbling into the medicine tub, swallowing yet another pill. Tears formed into his eyes as he sat alone, scared in his room. What the heck is wrong with him? Kachan mourned as Kirishima, who were both waiting for the lift, which was taking surprisingly long. If what we said yesterday was correct, Izuku could have. The redhead stopped himself, quieting his tone. He could be in heat right now, of course. Suppressants wouldn't work. Dang nerd, of course he was the shitty person to use the lift after me. The blonde muttered as the lift doors finally opened, both males stepping out. Look, Kirishima mused, pointing at the lift bottom, which had all been lifted up. He sent it to the floors. Stupid nerd. It was actually a smart move by Izuku. He had the time to get away and avoid anyone from tracking him with scent. Although Bakugou would never admit this. As the lift doors opened, Ejiro pressed a glass from behind his back, Kachan smirking in surprise. Never thought you'd be the one to eavesdrop. This is for Izuku's safety. If he can't come out of that room for whatever reason, at least we can inform Aizawa, Kirishima argued. Keep telling yourself that. Approaching Midoriya's door, the light sounds were already audible, but upon placing the glass against the wood, sniffles and sobbing could be heard from inside. Oh no, I'm no Omega, but that doesn't sound like crying. The redhead sighed, punching Bakugou's arm quite quickly. What the heck was that for? He quietly raged. You did this. If you hadn't forgotten your pills, he wouldn't be in there right now. F off, the blind snarled, pulling the glass over to his side and listening in. Shivers and whines could be heard as guilt made its way to Bakugou's head. Before both boys sat there for a while, minds racing on what to do to help. Before Kirishima noticed the change in the blonde's mannerism. Why are you sniffling like that? Ichiro quietly asked, looking at the way Kachan devoured the air like his life depended on it. Huh? Don't you smell that? Bakugo shot back, again inhaling deeply. No, what is it? It smells like strawberries. I can't get enough of it. He continued breathing deeply, the scent entracing him before a whack from the redhead brought him back from the trance. You idiot, that's Midoriya's pheromones from his heat. Kachan had a visible flush on his face, tearing his view from Ichiro's immediately. I don't mean to pry, Bakugo. But I can't smell anything. The boy knew exactly what this meant, although he could never admit it. Only he could smell Deku's scent, because Deku had a crush on him, even if the greenet didn't know it yet. Alphas could release pheromones that all could smell. Whenever their omega were, whether they were omega, beta, or even alpha. However, omega release hormones only the one that they desire can pick up on, leading it to somewhat awkward realization between Kirishima and Bakugo. We better leave. Katsuki growled. I stuck to the door. I stuck to the floor, his face red. Of course. Kirishima agreed, grabbing the glass and heading back to lift to tell Aizawa and Midoriya couldn't practice in schoolwork for some time. As Bakugo, a pink tingle seemed to cling to his face, thinking back to the events, a rare sight for anyone. Sugar-coated, Chapter 5. Oh. A knock on Izuku's door startled the team from being buried under blankets. Who is it? He managed to choke out, not daring to open up and unlock the door. Your teacher. Aizawa's voice boomed, tired, yet stern as ever. You're in here, aren't you? Midoriya's face lit red in embarrassment. He began to answer, yes, sir. Well, I understand that participation isn't going to be possible. You know the drill by now. Izuku answered with a yes, sir, once more before he slammed his bed sheets over his head. He felt disgusted with himself. If he hadn't been feeling strangely towards a Katsuki before, now he couldn't keep his mind off him craving the blonde's touch, more so with every passing second. Of course, he had heats at school before, just mild shaking with suppressants. He didn't really mind studying from his dorm, but this time was different. He wanted someone for the first time ever. As the dark-haired teacher footsteps back to fade away, he knew that his classmates were probably being informed and having to enjoy the last day off before school without him. His mind switched back to what seemed like the only thing he was allowed to think about Kachan. I don't like him. I can't like him, right? His voice muttered to himself in one of those mumbling sessions. He always treated me so badly. Why? But this feeling, it can't just be normal. Hold on a second. Wait, so where are we at? I don't like him. I can't like him, right? His voice muttered to himself in one of those mumbling sessions. He always treated me so badly, but this feeling, it can't just be nothing. The more he thought, the more confused he got. Before he decided the thing to do was to sleep. You okay, Bakugo? Sarah asked, looking at the blonde who had seemed pretty much off all day. Why wouldn't I be? Mind your dang business, Kachan shot back, glaring at the dark-haired male sternly. Only one of his friends knew what he was thinking about. Kirishima knew that Bakugo was thinking about Midoriya's crush on him. The class had just been informed of the granite being in heat. Thanks to Injiro reporting it to Aizawa, the redhead had one thing he was confused about, though. Of course, Katsuki had been thinking about it, but the strange thing was he hadn't raged about it yet, or even said it was gross. Kirishima felt even more strangely about the situation. With the amount that Bakugo was blushing, the love guru himself knew just what this meant. Katsuki Bakugo was the king of rage, anger, and pain, and the hots for Midoriya. Katsuki Bakugo, the king of rage, anger, and pain, had the hots for Izuku Midoriya. Now that that's a headline, after the common commotion had died down in the common room, everyone went about their daily routines, most splitting off into their own friendship groups. As Serum, Minna, and Kirishima waved over Bakugo and Kirishima, a spark of an idea came to the redhead's mind. I gotta finish a piece of homework I left till the last minute. You guys go without me. Ichiro smiled, pointing of the direction of his dorm. You know you should really be more prepared, Kirishima. Mina giggled, raving off. I know, he replied a little too much, excitement in his voice. Uraraka, the redhead, called out, and the brunette stopped in her tracks. Turning to face the male. Hey, Kirishima, what's up? She hummed, gliding to meet him. Well, it's about Midoriya. Oh yeah? What's going on with Deku-kan? Haven't you been allowed in all day? You haven't been allowed in all day, haven't you? No, I haven't. Uraka answered, pressing a finger to her cheek. Doesn't someone normally have to be on food duty or supply necessities to Omega and Heat? Oh yeah, you're totally right. I guess we haven't assigned anything yet, and poor Deku must be starving. She bellowed, eyes biting. I'm not sure about this, but I think Bakugo would be the perfect job. As Aizawa and All Might have said, they need to work on becoming better friends and work together. Kirishima was immediately pleased with himself for coming up with such a flawless plan. With Izuku and Heat, surely something would spark. He did have an ounce of guilt. What if something bad would happen? What if they fought again? What if Midoriya doesn't have a crush on Bakugo and his scent malfunctioned somehow? What's done is done. Uraka had already sped to find their tired teacher, leaving Yojiro to return to his friendship group, acting completely oblivious. Kirishima, you missed the funniest thing. Mina giggled upon Redhead's arrival. What happened? He asked. The pink tinged girl laughed uncontrollably. She even composed herself, stepped aside, and revealed Kirishima. Anyway, that's not Kirishima. That's Kaminari stuck to the fridge with Juro's tape. All he could do was stand there, wheezing. You are all freaking weirdos, Bakugo snarled, although his face was lit into a smile. Attention, please, everyone. Shoto's voice erupted into the room. It has come to my attention that Midoriya has not been assigned a friend to bring him food or water. So Bakugo, you will be completing that duty for the next week. The blonde sat there quietly trying his absolute best to compose himself. Kirishima spotted the subtle heating in his ears as he got up and grabbed some water with the most angry outlook he could muster, alongside with some snacks. As the class resumed conversation, Ichiro couldn't help but laugh to himself. Bakugo stomped away. If this didn't work, finding another way to hook them up would be organized. Yeah. Trembling. Chapter 6. Oh. Dang, Bakugo, you look mad. What did 206 puppy? What? What is a door? If y'all know what Midoriya has in his mouth, please tell me. It looks like a pigeon. It looks like a sculpture with a pedestal that the pigeon's on, and the pigeon's in a Midoriya's mouth. Okay, Trembling, Chapter 6. Once again, a rough knock at the Three-Nets door startled him. Who is it? Midoriya called out, still shaking as much as ever. It's Bakugo. Open the dang door, nerd. I have to bring you crappy snacks. Izuku's heart stopped. Breath hitched as he escaped the warmth of his covers, sweet and scent. Wait, what? Izuku's heart stopped. Breath hitching as he escaped the warmth of his covers, sweating instantly building up on his cheeks, heating on fire. I'm coming, Kachan. He tried to answer, fumbling out of bed towards the door. Each footstep was shaking wildly. Katsuki wasn't doing anything better himself. He knew that Midoriya did have a crush on him, so controlling his blush seemed to be a harder task than he thought it would be. As Izuku shakily unlocked the door and creaked it open slightly, not daring to look up to that blind alpha in front of him. Mustering up the courage to look, mainly because Kachan wasn't saying anything, Izuku's green orbs fluttered up to link with Katsuki's, before both boys looked away, blushing. You gonna let me in, or what, dang nerd? What the heck? Bakugo snarled, barging past the boy and looking around to the mess of his storm. Looking around at the mess of his storm, it was suppressants weren't scattered across the floor. The water bottles littered everywhere, and 100 layers of blankets on the bed. to Midoriya having the alpha he had been craving so much within a muttery on him, his senses through the floor. Muttery of his senses through the floor. He tried his hardest to resist the temptations in front of him. Instantly, here, the blind growled, shoving water and food on his desk. It would be a lie if Katsuki said he wasn't feeling differently towards the granite recently. So deciding to test his feelings as if he didn't know the answer already. So, are you craving an alpha yet? He asked, staring a strange tone, awkwardly sleeping into his place. Izuku had taken a back face heating red. Well, he muttered, fumbling his words as he couldn't just admit he craved Kachan. It's normal, nerd. I just thought someone like you wouldn't start craving until later years. The blonde purred almost teasingly. What? Midoriya gasped. What's that supposed to mean? Well, you were always late, Boomer. That's rich. The green shot back, although he knew it was true. He was actually attempting to use the remainders of confidence before his Omega instincts kicked in and made him look and feel naturally weaker. So who is it? The Mullen knew exactly who it was, but the feeling of dominance fed the alpha instincts with a golden platter. What? What? Stuttered, covering his face with his arms. You heard me? You heard me. That's none of your business, Kachan. As Izuku used the remainder of his confidence he could muster, his knees weakened. The feeling of craving instantly became stronger. He released more pheromones. Katsuki was trying his best not to give in to the sweet scent of strawberries emitting from the teen in front of him. Midoriya linked eyes with Katsuki once again. He collapsed to his knees, alerting the blind's attention immediately. Deku, what's with you? Deku looked defeated as Katsuki stepped back. The freckled hands instantly gripping the baggy, joggy pants of the taller blind. Please, Kachan, he begged. You need to leave. The heck? Why? The greenet's face tilted up to meet Kachan's own, displaying a harsh blush across his cheeks, lips trembling and stained with saliva. His eyes dialed back and prominent underneath. Please, the person I'm craving is you, he muttered as Bakugou blushed deeply. Dang nerd, Bakugou whispered before placing his hands on the greenet's forehead before leaving quickly, knowing the touch of the craved alpha cools the heat fever. Izuku sat back on his bed softly whining. His secret was out, and Bakugou was sweet about it. He quickly cooled his fever. That couldn't have been right. As soon as Katsuki left the room, he stumbled onto the other side of the Midoriya's door, harassing. I don't believe it, he thought. I have effing feelings for the crappy nerd. The thought played on his mind like a broken record. Every quiet moment he had to himself was full of the greenet's own feelings. Katsuki knew Deku liked him, and Deku had admitted he had admitted it too, out in the open. But Deku didn't know Katsuki liked him. As the feelings fully recognize these feelings, the scent of heat-driven Omega occasionally seeped through the floor. It sent the Alpha crazy, as he thought he could only smell it. As he could be the only ones to smell it. Has anyone else been smelling strawberries today? It took a minute to register that what had been said was not bakugou asking, it was Todoroki. Oh, I don't want to leave it on a cliffhanger, but I also gotta go because I'm doing it. Dang ads. Dang ads. No. Competitive, chapter 7. Katsuki, wait. You know what? I'm gonna leave it here. Anyways, guys, girls, I hope you liked the video. Comment down below if y'all want part 2. Anyways, I'm gonna leave it here. See you all next one. Bye.